Stop weighing yourself now to lose more fat. In this video, I'm going to convince you that weighing yourself too much is the reason you haven't reached your weight loss goal. And I've structured what I'm going to say to take you through every step you need to know, so don't skip or you'll miss out. And before I discuss anything else, I want to remind you what you're actually measuring when you step on the scale. Imagine now you're in your bathroom and you walk towards the scale. You place 1 foot on, 2 foot on, and that magic number appears. What is the scale really showing? The scale doesn't have the ability to only measure the bits you don't like about yourself. What it's actually showing is everything you're made up of in that moment, which includes all your organs, including your brain, your heart, your stomach, food in your digestive system, any clothes or jewelry you may be wearing, your blood, your muscle, water, and of course, fat too. So the scale measures weight and not fat. Let me illustrate this. So I have here a 500 milliliter glass of water, which is around 500 grams or 1.1 pounds. So if I drink this, I'll weigh just over a pound more. And that pound has come on just like this. And because water has 0 calories, it doesn't have to be burnt off. So it can go just like that too. And I can't stress how important this is to understand. And that leads me on to the question, how quickly can you gain or lose fat? Let me explain. So there are 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. To put on 1 pound of body fat, you need to eat 3,500 calories over your normal daily requirement, which for the average person is going to be around 2,000 calories per day. So to put on a pound of actual fat, you're going to need to eat around 5,500 calories. That's a lot. So if you wake up one day and weigh 1 pound more, remember, it's probably not fat weight. The same goes for losing a pound. You're very unlikely to lose a pound of fat overnight, unless you've burnt over 3,500 calories in your sleep. The 3,500 calories to lose a pound of fat does split nicely over a week. If you're eating 500 calories fewer per day, after a week, you'd expect to lose a pound because 3,500 calories divided by 7 days in a week equals 500 calories per day for a pound of fat loss. And the 500 calories doesn't have to come just from food either. It can be 250 calories less food and 250 calories more movement and exercise. So this is why I suggest it's a bad idea to weigh every day. You're only going to see 0.1 pounds or 64 grams of weight loss per day if you're losing a pound per week. And there's no way the scale is going to highlight that through all the water weight and other fluctuations. And so now let's talk about those fluctuations. I'm sure you've seen a weight loss graph. They often look like this. And a reminder, this is weight change and not fat change. Every weight measurement on that graph is everything that makes up that person at the moment that they weighed themselves. And remember that water weight can come and go just like this. So you may have lost a pound of fat one week, but gained 2 pounds of water that day. So the scale will show you've gained weight. The next day, you may weigh yourself again and have lost 2 pounds of water. And so show 2 pounds less on the scale. If you weighed yourself on the Monday and the lowest weight of the week just happened to be on the Wednesday, through luck, you'd never know unless you weighed yourself all the time. My point here is that you're only ever getting a snapshot of your current weight and not fat in that moment. Now, that might make you think, I should weigh myself more then, Harry. And that leads me on to one of the biggest negatives of weighing. So let me ask you a question that I need an honest answer to. Why are you weighing yourself? Is it to unemotionally take a reading of your current weight and then move on with your day? Or is it to justify and validate putting the effort in to lose weight and stick to the horrible diet you're doing? If it's number 2, then we have a problem. If your drive to lose weight is solely relying on the scale, showing you the number you want and giving you the reason to continue, then just like the scale number, your motivation is going to be up and down and all over the place. And you do not want to rely on something that's outside your control for motivation. Trust me. I'm sure you'll agree. You want your motivation to stick to whatever diet you're doing to remain rock solid, right? The more often you weigh yourself, the more of the micro influences of weight change through things like water you're going to see. So essentially weighing so often is completely irrelevant to showing progress. Like I said, the only reason you might do it is to justify continuing with your diet. And that leads me on to the part that I expect you're here for. What should you measure instead if you're not going to weigh yourself as much? A quick recap. You know now that you don't have control over what the scale says. Plus, it's not even showing you fat loss anyway. However, you can influence what the scale says through your behaviors and actions throughout your week. You never have complete control over what the scale number might say, but you do have control over the things to push it in the right direction. So what can you measure and control instead to get better weight loss results? Well, if it's your behaviors and actions that lead to weight loss, then being consistent with your weight loss habits is the key. So ask yourself now, am I doing and tracking the fundamentals? How consistent am I being with these? And at the end of the week, am I reviewing these fundamentals and giving myself feedback so I can continually improve and stay on track? Doing this, you can build important behaviors and so build more consistency and success into the outcomes you have less control over, like what the scale number says. And a little side note here, what usually happens when you weigh yourself and you don't like the number you see? Does the consistency with your behaviors and habits go out the window? If you're like most people, I'm sure it often does. So if you want to get better weight loss results, do this. Earn the right to weigh yourself by building and tracking the daily habits you need to lose weight consistently. And then do this consistently for a month. Don't weigh yourself until the month is up. And I know this can be scary at first. Knowing your weight before the month is up is not the motivation you need. You don't want your healthy habits to be conditional on you making progress every time you step on the scale. You're worth more than that. The motivation should come from measuring how well you're being consistent with your habit tracking instead, and how well you're living in alignment with your health values. When you do weigh yourself, you've given yourself enough time for enough fat loss to happen that it should overpower any daily or weekly fluctuations in other things like water, food, muscle weight. And so you should see a more accurate number. And that's when you can then assess your habits. And based on what the scale then says, you can choose to adjust, change, or add new habits. And if you'd like some help with this, I have a free guide, Get Better Weight Loss by Understanding How to Weigh Yourself. And I think this video will be useful for you next.